can you remember who you were before the world told you who you should be? Because I feel like a lot of us let the world, I've done it too. We let the world define us, right? We let the world call the shots, and it's like, nah, it's
Yeah,
your
that's backwards. But
yeah,
then at the same time, if you notice, we praise the people who don't do that. And we call them celebrity. We call them guru. We call them whatever. And all
fact.
they did was have the courage to be themselves and go after something that seemed. And
Exactly.
we praise those people because really we know that we can do that ourselves. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Study the Ascent podcast. We have a very, very special guest. I'm super excited for this impending discussion that I already know is going to be super fire, Jalan Andrews. Hello, Jalan.
What's up?
Peace and love. Peace and love. Yeah, so let me do this intro because I want to make sure I do it justice. So Jalan is originally from Thomaston, Georgia. He attended Clark Atlanta University in 2014. In 2018, he graduated and started working with Oracle after Clark Atlanta really expanded his mind and increased his exposure. It really just put him on the map to see what's possible. And really what he focuses on is just understanding that every day we are blessed to just open our eyes and live. Each day we are being granted with an opportunity to represent those that come before us and set a precedent for those that will come after us. Awesome. So super ridiculously excited. Brief little story. Jalan and I, you already know, Jalan and I met at an ETA event, randomly sat next to each other. And I just believe some people you meet and it's just good vibes. Like, you know, it's just immediately good vibes. And so I was actually there with my aunt, if you remember, and we were just motivated. We felt called in general in terms of a part of our purpose to speak. And so we started investing in ourselves. And that was the first event that we invested in ourselves with. And it was special because we did it together. And so we were packed in there tight. And it was it was quite an experience, but it was a powerful experience at the same time. So we kind of stayed in touch through social media ever since, little, touch and go, nothing really too crazy. But I really had always been watching what you were doing and the content that you're putting out, even though, you know what I'm saying, it wasn't like it was a lot, but it was enough to be noticed. And I saw that you were doing, and I understood your impact from our conversations that we had, even at the event. And so when I decided to take this opportunity to really start sharing both my viewpoints and understandings about the world and what I've experienced thus far and others, you were definitely one of the first people that come to mind. So I'm really excited to share this space, this connection with you. And yeah, what's up?
That's dope, man. I appreciate it. That's so cool. Cause yeah, that's crazy how we met though.
I know.
It is crazy because it's like, I don't know, it's like you said, man. I think we all meet people like for a reason, but we never know it. So it's like you said, even if we didn't, talk all the time, we always stayed in touch. And I think both of us we followed each other. So,
Yep.
we were able to see what we was putting out. We were able to see also the work that we was putting in from that conference. I really feel like that conference was it was one of those things, it kind of sticks with you though. Like everything we learned from that conference, I literally still hold on to it today. And I don't know if you saw me, but I was recording it the whole
You
time.
were, yeah. I mean, I did. I actually did. I
Yeah.
thought that was one of the reasons why we're like, hey, when you share that, because Inky, remember Inky came dropping. I was like, I'm like, yo, I feel this. This is different than, and when you resonate with it, like, yo, I feel this. I can do this. I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
I know how to make, like, I feel what he's saying. I feel his feeling of wanting to be like, uplift people and like, let's go. I understand that. And he lit that room up. CJ stopped through. Cantus was there. Very powerful.
That was crazy. They said we couldn't like record it, like video.
Yeah.
But if I could just do a voice memo and just put my phone
exactly.
down. Yeah, exactly. So I had to make way
for personal use.
Yeah, because I felt like that conference, man, you could take notes, you could take the notes and everything, but like, it's one of those things, it's good to like be able to go back and hear it again. Though. It's different from like when you hear it versus just going back to read your notes from it. So I was like, I gotta take it. At that point, I didn't even know who Inky Johnson. I didn't even know who he was for real. Long day. So it was like, yeah, it was eye opening. Yeah, I'm glad I captured that. Glad we had the chance to meet from it.
Wise.
He said, meant to be.
Meant to be. So I reached out to you so you kind of have an idea what the premise of this podcast is. I'm super excited to talk about it really because it goes deep. There's no way we're gonna be able to touch all of it on this one. But there was something when I reached out that you spoke about. You
Mm-hmm.
spoke about fear and how it kind of was tapping at you, not necessarily in a bad way, probably more akin to like excitement and other things, but just in terms of you having a speaking engagement with Texas A&M.
Yeah.
So one, let's talk about how you processed and handled that for the event, and then let's talk about it on the macro scale.
Yeah, it was one of those things. Just really going back to that conference stuff. I mean, I could really like learn so much. But like one thing that taught us in that conference was like when we have the chance to like speak, when we have those opportunities, is first off, it's like, you always give thanks and be appreciative that you've been chosen for it, but also understand that you are meant to be in that room too. So I think that was the first thing I thought about, but right after that, I think that's where the fear kicked in. Even though I knew that I was chosen, even though I knew it was meant to be and all of that, as a person, I was still like, oh man, I gotta speak like on Friday. I'm anxious, I'm nervous. But one thing they told us was like, whenever we have the chance to speak, and that's what I spoke about yesterday, but it's like, whenever we have the chance to speak, we gotta understand that like it's not about us though. Whenever we speak, I know we may be nervous, but we become nervous because we're so focused on me, me, me. I might mess up, I might miss a word, I might just bomb this whole thing. But it's like, instead, if you could think about it in a way where it's like, I'm speaking, but it's somebody else that may need to hear this story. Like, it's somebody else that need to hear what I'm saying because, my words, the stories that I may share, they could like touch somebody else. So really, that's how I process it every time. I may be anxious, I may be nervous, may be scared and everything, but I always try to remember that there could be one person in that room that may need something that I'm gonna say though. So that's really like my process for it now. It can be tough sometimes, but I always try to like go back to that thought. It's not about me. It's about, those that I'm speaking with.
That's beautiful. And I feel like that can, like, I call them anchoring beliefs, like something that can take you out of the whatever fleeting emotion that you're having for that time and remind yourself of why you're doing what you're doing.
Yep.
To give yourself a higher aim just than that moment. Because we're fearful or anxious or whatever about the moments, but the reason why we started on the journey is great was much greater than those feelings. It puts those feelings into perspective. Like, hey, we still got to get this done regardless. So let's go. Because like you said, somebody might just get their life changed or get confirmation or affirmation that they are supported during this moment. Because I do believe that we are put in spaces and that the creator speaks through us to people. Somebody could have said, I need to know that you're real. You know what I'm saying? I need to know that I'm supported. Have someone say something about a blue jay and you happen to say some, you know what I'm saying? And they're like,
yeah.
And we don't know. We're just in a stream of consciousness. But they just got confirmation for something that they needed along their journey. And that's beautiful.
There I go. That's usually how it goes. You never know.
You never know. Because it's happened to me being on the other side. So
yep. Walk into it, man.
Walk in, step in. So I found that fear, and there's a lot of different acronyms that people use for it. I know one's definitely like false evidence appearing real.
Yeah.
And I think it's a bunch of different ones, but where do you think fear comes from?
I think I don't know. When I think about it, I feel like when I did the presentation yesterday, we literally started it off talking about that was a quote, and I asked them as a question, but it was like, can you remember who you were before the world told you who you should be?
Mm,
That was a good one too, because
that's
I
a
was.
good one.
But when I read that, I was like, I ain't got the answer neither. But when we started that off, it was just kind of hearing the answers though, and just a lot of people is like, nah, I don't remember who I was though. So I don't know. When I think about fear, I feel like the world kind of teaches us fear. Like we I don't know. I feel like we become fearful through the world sometimes, and it's like it talks about it, and I've heard it so much, but it talks about just like being a kid, like going back to them days when you was just a kid. And I feel like kids are fearless, right? They'll touch that hot stove because they don't know. You know what I'm
They
saying?
don't
So
know.
I I I think the phrase is what ignorance is bliss.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I saw somebody post the other day. It was like I'm about to start. I'm gonna take that, and I'm gonna start just being ignorant because I think the more that we know and the more that we learn, I think that's what brings that fear on. Because I'm not saying do anything crazy or go out and do crazy stuff, but I am saying like just like I said, walk into it, go for it. Because I feel like the world kind of puts that fear on us. I think the world stops us from doing a lot of things. And I'm just really big, at least this year, it's like, yo, whatever you want, just go for it. Like, even if it don't happen, man, just try it though. So I don't know. I think fear. I feel like the world, taught us fear. That's what comes to my mind though. What they call it all.
I agree. I think that when you said that phrase, ignorance is bliss, I had a thought come to mind. I'm like, I feel like there is a certain level of ignorance in faith. And
Yes.
it's not so much that you are like, I know that ignorance has a connotation with like being dumb or like, but it honestly, I believe that it's more so not counting the things that could happen as the only things that could happen. It's
Mm-hmm.
the understanding that faith is being able to act sometimes with certain knowns being known, but understand that there is a force that is unknown that is more
Mm-hmm.
powerful than the things that you can see.
Yep. Yep.
So fear, it's like, yeah, be your childlike self again. And it's not that children didn't know that they could get hurt. It's
Yeah.
that their faith of, the possible experience or whatever was more exciting.
Yeah. And it's like you said, I think it's also just understanding, like, I feel like fear holds us back in so many ways. And it's like, I always talk about it, man. Just imagine if like most people weren't like fearful. Like imagine if most people like went for their dreams and like just really went for it. Like everything, all the things they want in life, just imagine if most people just did it. In my mind, I really think a lot more people like they'd be more happier too, right? Because I'm real big on believing though. And once you do something, once you see it can happen, you start to believe more and more. But we can't even get to that point because
Yeah.
fear.
You're being blocked.
Yeah.
Blocked by the conscious, the thoughts that really have been downloaded into us about that are really just for more worldly gain, and not worldly gain in terms of how we can get it, but gain from the people who
Mm-hmm.
benefit from us not being our true selves or our full selves.
Exactly. And it's always been.
And it's always been there and will always be for the people who don't. That's why it's a mental challenge to have
Mm-hmm.
a certain level of mental fortitude. And that's why when we talk about words like consistency, when we talk about words like discipline, it's really
Yeah.
teaching your mind to focus more on that, to develop your own beliefs, to develop faith in yourself that what you start, you finish, or you do things regardless of how you feel. And I was talking to my sister last night. I'm like, the worst thing we can do at times is allow ourselves to be in a boat with no rudder, no oars in the sea of our emotions.
Mm, that's good.
Just floating. You know what I'm saying? Like just
Yeah.
wherever. It's a
Oh, that's
storm
dangerous.
today. All right. I guess I'll allow it to take me 20 miles off course.
Oh, that's dangerous.
That's dangerous.
It's dangerous.
You could travel 100 miles. Your definite chief aim, your goal is 20 miles away. You didn't travel 20 miles in that direction, 20 miles back, 20 miles in this direction, 20 miles back. You know, you traveled over 100 miles, but you still far. You could have been made it to your destination to and from 5 times.
Thanks. That's real.
You know what I'm saying?
Everywhere but the place.
But you know where you needed to go, but you allowed every time you get out of that emotion, oh man, why did I?
Yep.
So that's saying the next time that you feel that your emotions are carrying you off course, what you gonna do? That's wisdom, application of things that you know from the past. You don't have to sit there and beat yourself up about how you allowed yourself last year to get swayed off course. All right, boom, we here now.
Yeah.
What's up? You know, how you gonna act the next time you're presented with that same situation?
Yeah, that's
real. All that the past can even do from us. And that's something that I even struggle. Oh man, I shoulda, coulda, woulda. Those things.
Me too. I think. Yeah, I don't know, man. Just the thought of fear is like one thing we talked about yesterday was I don't know, it always starts like with us though. And it's just crazy like how a lot of us we really struggle in the area of, believing, of being fearless and just going for things. And I told them yesterday, I was talking to my professor. It was back in college, like sophomore year, I was talking to my professor. He was like, he asked me what my passion was. I was like, I just, I buy sneakers. That's if you give me a refund check, was getting the refunds in college, I'm buying me a pair of sneakers. No question, like I'm going for it. So he was like, how can you take that passion, give it back to the world? And I was like, yeah, I ain't thought that deep about it though. I'm a sophomore in college, so my mind is just not even in that place. But I ended up taking it and I took what he asked me and I actually, I thought about it and I ended up doing a shoe drive for my hometown. And it was so dope because like I was able to bring like my family together, my friends together, church family together, like just people from all over. It was just so cool, such a cool experience. But I always talk about this shoe drive because like I didn't know that on the back end of it, this relationship that I would meet or this relationship that I would form with this lady from my church. Her name was Miss Jackie. Man, I always talk about Miss Jackie because ever since that shoe drive, I kid you not, every Sunday after that shoe drive, she would see me at church. She would walk up to me, check in with me, how you doing? And then she would just always say, I love you, though. I never understood where the love came from, right? Every Sunday after that shoe drop, she would always do that. And it was Christmas break, 2018, I think, or 2019. I came home and I got a chance to see her like one more time, at least before I came back to Austin. I was able to see her, went to a crib and we was talking. And in the middle of our conversation, she came out of nowhere. She said it again, like, I love you, right? And I was like, yeah, Miss Jackie, I know it. And she was like, and then she told me, she was like, the reason that I said, I don't know if your mom or your parents ever told you, but when I saw you doing that shoe drive, I saw like the passion you had. I saw the heart that you had to serve the community. And I just saw how happy you were doing it in the process. And at that time for me, I was in such a bad place. But one thing I believe is that, God sends us people to get us out of those places. It's always the right person. And for me at that time, it was you. And it's all blowing my mind. Like
that's mind blowing. Yeah.
But even after that, she continued and she was like, and I also don't know if your parents told you this, but my son passed away a few years ago. So that shoe drive, me seeing you doing it, I was able to see qualities of my son within you in that moment. And it was like just that passion, that heart, that smile. Like I was seeing my son through you in that moment. So like when I tell you I love you, it's not just, me saying it randomly. It's because, through you, I'm able to still see bits and pieces of my son. And I'm just like, I'm telling you, I'm just sitting there like, what? And I think just what I learned from that, like, I always think back to when my professor asked me, what's your passion? How can you take your passion, give it back to the world? And at that time, I was in a mindset of like, fearful, you know what I'm saying? Fearful, not understanding what I could like really be out here, like what I could be for people, how I could impact, touch people, serve people. I'm thinking I'm just too cool and I'm chilling and little old me, I'm good. Meanwhile, on the other end, like we said, the bigger picture though, I think the whole time he saw a leader in me that I ain't see in myself. But like, I think the whole time he was like, yo, this kid, like, he not as fearful as he think he is. Like, yo, he can really go do some great things. But the whole time, like, nah, I'm cool. So it's just like that experience, it taught me so much, taught me about serving. But I think most importantly, man, it taught me that like we hold ourselves back most of the time.
Yeah.
It's always people, like we just said with me and you, me and Miss Jack, it's always the right people at the right time that will push us out of there. And I think, you know, it was just such an amazing experience. And I hold on to that to this day. Like, that was deep.
That's deeper than deep.
That was so deep.
And sometimes I think when we're thinking about situations like that, we're mind blown in our position. But I always find another way to even get a deeper and more mind blowing experience is to put yourself in the other person's position. You know what I'm saying? Like, imagine somebody having such an impact on you that you tell them, I love you. And you know what I'm saying? It's like a younger guy, you know what I'm saying? Like somebody that, and your son's passed and you're seeing, you know, you're looking at somebody and you're seeing somebody that you love so dearly, like bits and flashes, like, wow, you know, and they're no longer like, how does that feel to Miss Jackie? And I think that's the dual part about impact. There are those of us who feel called to say and speak and serve in certain ways, and it's weird kind of being in a certain position. If I've even found myself like, I'm nobody's guru, you know what I'm saying? Like, you kind of get a feeling of like, okay, kind of lower me off, please don't put me on a pedestal. It's not that type of situation, but putting yourself on the other side for how a person might have gotten a life-changing message through you.
Yep.
Or a life-changing glimpse of somebody that either themselves that they used to know or someone that they used to know.
Yeah.
Like, that's a powerful experience.
Yeah.
So it's just powerful all around. Now, you said something within that, and I'm not necessarily going to quote it verbatim. I'm just going to go to the overarching theme
Cool.
about fear holding us back, and in tandem with we're holding our own selves back most of the time.
Not for real. I think one of my friends, I feel like he said it like the best, but he told me one time, he was like, you know, Jalen, I wonder why, like, you know, a lot of us, we rely on our faith to move our actions. He said, but what if we allowed our actions to move our faith, though? And I was like,
It's nasty. Yeah.
yeah. I was like, what? But yeah, like it's just, man, it's just so, I think what I'm learning just as a person, as I'm just, you know, getting older and just going through life at this point is like, we really can do anything and everything that we want. This thing called fear is the one thing that hold us back. But I think I was talking to my homeboy yesterday, and I told him the most dangerous person in the world is one that believes in himself 100%.
Oh yeah. Nothing
That's
you can, yeah.
so when I talk about fear, I put it with believing though. So one thing about me, I've always said like I'm a believer though. Like I'm one of those people like I'm a believer I can do it like regardless. Like at work, outside of work. I believe I'm that guy for a lot of situations that people probably look at me and be like, nah, you're not that guy. But I'm gonna at least try it though, right? I'm gonna go for it. And I think I just believe. And I think me believing as much as I do, I think that's what knocks out fear. Like it ain't no fear no more because I do that one thing that we should all be doing. And that is just to believe that you can do it though. Because
And
that's what's
probably opening up situations, like opening it up such that you become that guy. You know, now you are right. You were that guy. But if you didn't believe and you operated out of a lack of belief, that door would have been closed to you.
exactly. Gotta believe, man. I think our fear is a lot of times connected to like how much do we believe in ourselves though. Most of us don't, we struggle. But I think that's why I asked that question too. Can you remember who you were before the world told you who you should be? Because I feel like a lot of us let the world, I've done it too. We let the world define us, right? We let the world call the shots. And it's like, nah, it
Yeah,
showed.
that's backwards. But
Yeah,
then at the same time, if you notice, we praise the people who don't do that. And we call them celebrity. We call them guru. We call them whatever. And all
fact.
they did was have the courage to be themselves and go after something that seemed. And
Exactly.
we praise those people because really we know that we can do that ourselves. But
Mm-hmm.
we're fearful.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's admirable to see someone who was able to overcome those fears flourish. So it's
Yep.
not so much that we have this like celebrity worship-esque thing going on, is that we worship the qualities of that person
Yep. Yep.
because we resonate with it in some way. Like we know we could do it in some way.
Yep.
And something that I love about myself personally is, for whatever reason, I feel like my mind is a little less susceptible to like programming, and that might have been what has saved me or made me a part of who I am. But like the whole, you know how girls grow up in there like with the boy bands and they're like just
Uh,
this crazy amount of celebrity worship. I was always like, they're
yeah.
people.
Yeah. Me too. I'm the same way actually.
Like I'm looking around like, this is kind of weird. Why is everybody screaming? I understand that. I understand the concept of reverence, but the extreme pedestal that sometimes people put them, yeah, exactly,
Right.
passing out, throwing stuff. I'm
Yeah.
like,
You can't get behind it for real.
you can enjoy what they're doing and have respect for their craft without, because what it
Mm-hmm.
does is inevitably puts us in a place where we allow them overcoming their fears to put us, if they're on a pedestal, you're down here,
You put yourself, yeah.
but you're not down there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a point of, when people say, I say that I believe in myself, but I'm still humble enough to sit at the feet of those who know more than I do.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But in the act of sitting, okay, like literally imagine like this
Yeah.
sage scene and with the student and the master and the teacher. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so when the teacher, when the student is sitting at the teacher's feet, he is intentionally putting himself in a position to receive and give reverence in that specific moment for
Yep.
what the teacher is telling him.
Yep.
He's showing, it's like a sign of respect and a sign of I'm listening, and a sign of I'm willing to be elevated by you in this moment and receive what you have to say. But
Mm-hmm.
when they're done, they both stand up.
Yeah, we both get back up because
And we're both in the same, you know what I'm saying? And now we're both like, it's not like as a student, I have to consistently live at your feet.
at your feet. Yeah. Yeah.
No teacher would actually want that. No master actually can be considered a master if all his students remain students.
Yes, that's real. You dropping it, huh?
You know what I'm saying?
Wow, okay.
Yeah, it's a bar. But, and that goes with what I said in one of my videos, is that true leadership dispels fear.
Mm,
And I didn't say it in that way, but this is what I actually said.
mm,
A true teacher inspires courage and faith in oneself within that person.
mm-hmm.
A true teacher, true leadership is not wanting someone to follow you until the end of time.
Exactly.
True leadership is inspiring and igniting the understanding that you are a leader.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily in the way in which I lead. It doesn't have to look like how I lead.
Yep.
It's to inspire and make people trust themselves enough to lead themselves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's what my trainer told me that. I never forget. That's why I rock with him to this day. But I remember he was like, from the jump, he was like, yeah, we can start training. But my goal is just to get you, to where you want to be. kind of teach you everything, the diet, the exercise, just teach you everything, because I know you're not gonna be my client forever, right? The goal is
That's the
I want you to
goal.
be my client forever. I when you're done, I hope that you bring somebody else new, right? Like I just want to keep it like that. I'm not trying to lock you in. This ain't a money grab. You know what I'm saying? You kept it real, and I think that was so key.
That's
And at
beautiful.
that time, I didn't see like how deep that was, but just hearing you say that, and I think about him, it's like I love that though, because he already knew it. Like my goal is not to keep you here. Like you said, I just want to make sure you know enough, make sure you feel comfortable enough, but more importantly, make sure you believe and trust in yourself enough to go out and work out on your own, bro. That's
Hmm.
really it. So,
Because why? You just said it. Let's break this down again. We're gonna keep tying it back in. True growth, true leadership, true faith in oneself, true belief
yep.
is growth in itself.
Mm-hmm.
Fear is stagnation.
Yep.
Fear is stagnation. Fear keeps you. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't grow you. It's a barrier. It blocks. It aims to keep you where you are.
Mm-hmm.
And our biological minds, because of evolution or whatever the heck,
Yeah.
life
Fact.
makes us, makes us be like, oh, I don't want to do that again. Let me try to remain okay. I know this specific set of variables. Let me try to keep these the same because I know this.
Yep.
But
Yep.
if what you're so as you try to break out of that, you're understanding that what you're doing isn't working, and so you try to change, and then that carnal mind comes in and say, "We whoa,
What we doing? Hold up.
you
You
doing the
trying to
most. We don't want to be dealing with no extra stuff, so we gonna keep
yeah,
it."
keep
But
it keep
your
it cool.
spirit knows you like we're done with this level. We're done growing at this level.
That's man, as I've been pursuing, I would say speaking like full time, I think in like December, like towards the end of last year, I experienced this fear and just being complacent. But it's like you said though, I knew in my heart kind of where I needed to be or what I was supposed to be doing. I knew it was just gonna take some work and I would have to, put that work in to make it happen. But I'm at my 9 to 5 and I go in and at that point in life, I was like, I gotta get out. But I was so hesitant to like get out and pursue speaking full time because I was like, I don't know if it's gonna work. I don't know if it's set up right. Just a lot of variables. And one thing I learned was just talking to too many people too, though. The more people you
Yes.
talk to, the easier it is
Yeah.
to get stuff out of you. Like, you know what? I need to come up with a plan, right? And you're gonna tell yourself that for the next 3 months, and then you just sitting there. So it's like that job, man. I remember I was so hesitant. I'm still there now, but I now have a plan that I'm
Mm-hmm.
sticking to, to exit.
Mm-hmm.
But when I tell you, I was so complacent. People knew it around me. I was good at the job, so I'm like, I'm good. It's good money. Like I'm good. And I was going out for a role, trying to get promoted, and it didn't happen. And I was so like upset. Like I was beat. Like I was going through it. I even started crying about it, but I was going through it. And I was talking to like one of my homegirls, and she was like, I was telling her, I was like, I don't know why I didn't get it. Like I don't get it. It don't make sense to me. I did everything. I did everything right. Man, I've been on panels. I spoke. Like I did everything. She was like, I was like, man, it's been a waste. Like, that's a waste of 3 years. And she was like, she stopped me and she was like, first off, let me stop you right there because
Mm.
for you to say like it was a waste, that's you telling me that like all the people you met wasted, all the lessons you learned wasted, the opportunities that you had wasted. Are you telling me all of those things are now wasted because you ain't get one thing that you wanted, right?
Ooh.
I was like, check you. She checked me. I like, I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay,
You
you
need
got
those
it.
kind of people around.
Yeah, and I was like, you know what? You're right. And she was like, you know what, Jalen? I actually think, and I know you probably already know it, but I think your time. I think it's your time to move on to that next journey too. And like I said, I knew this whole time, even going for the promotion, that was already in me, but I was so scared of it. I'm hesitant. I've never done it, never left a job to go pursue a dream. Like I ain't never been that person, never did this. So it's like, I was always scared, but just hearing that from her, first off, to just be grateful for everything that I've learned, everything that I've taken in, the people that I've met. I think that was one thing, but then just hearing her say like, yo, it's time. I know you've been scared. I know you've been fearful, but it's time though. Do what you got to do. Come up with your plan. But just know, from me to you, I'm saying it's time. You know it's time. So now it's time for you to go
It's
do that.
time.
Yeah, man. That fear, I'm telling you, I've had so many fearful kind of situations, and fear will really hold you back, man. And it will keep you even happy, no peace, no joy. It'll beat you up.
It will. But when you overcome it, you get stronger.
Mm.
The more times you do it. Like I remember I used to be like really shy, like hide behind my mom shy. And this is like, you know, second grade, you know what I'm saying? But just like, I always had this mind, but in terms of speaking in front of people, and I specifically remember, not vaguely, I specifically remember there got to a point in my life where I realized like some just clicked, like, oh, that's gonna hold me back. I don't know where it came from or how. Again, I don't know how. It wasn't, I don't know, it was just a realization that I had. And so my earliest memory of doing it was actually high school, where I just started to do things that scared me. And I think it was my understanding of like, dang, there were some things in high school, it was my senior year. There were some things that I didn't really get to do, that I thought that I would have more time to do. So I went out for like student council. I tried out for a musical. Oh God.
Didn't work out.
Woo!
Oh man.
But I say, and I could hold a tune, like I can hold a tune. You know what I'm saying? Like I can, my sister can sing, but I can sing. You know what I'm saying? I can sing.
I'm dead.
But when I went up there, it was those nerves.
No, another word.
You can see everybody on the side slide back like, I was like, you know what? Take that one to the chin. But the other stuff, like with student council, I went up, everybody had things written. I'm like, nah, I'm gonna just go up and freestyle. Like I'm gonna just be myself. And I did. And it was like this video recording way that they had decided to do it that year. And then the person behind me, like he was like a popular kind of, he came up and like said the basically exact same thing that I said. I was like, and won. I was like,
not he took the speech. Work smart, not hard, my brother.
He said perfect.
Yeah, he's like, I'm already good.
He said, I'm Gooch now. Took the whole thing and took the title. I'm like, wow, you're a wild boy for that.
And that's
But just that was really my springboard where I really was like intentional. So throughout college, when I first started even just doing internships, I remember like anytime there's a situation where I'm in a big crowd and is there any questions? Even if I don't have a real question, like because I know what's that fear. Whoop, you get called on, the attention shift to you. Now you're in the spotlight. I just want, learning how to speak when I'm being watched, learning how to be myself, even when I'm being watched or critiqued. So I started to do that to where people like, well, we know you got a question, or we know you gonna get up to say something or speak, or if anybody have any comments or, and I kept doing that even to the point where I graduated mechanical engineering from Howard. Before that, I don't know if you knew that. Before that, yeah. So the HBCU, you know what I'm saying? Love, strong. And so I had a biomedical, like I think I want to do biomedical engineering. Like, let's see. So we're talking like those conferences where you're presenting your research and you're in front of a panel of people and they're ready to pick you apart. Like, do you know what you say you know? And we're talking like, and Ivy League, you know, like they're ready to pick apart you're in front of whoever's in there.
Not for real.
And I stood my ground. You know what I'm saying? Yes, I'm supposed to be here.
I'm here.
This is the work that I did. I'm proud that I did it. When I didn't know things, I'll get back to you on that. Let me research that. That's a good question.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's a totally different that's a different energy. It's a different energy. It is. And so that's led me to the most recent thing I can think about is I went to a friend's my Miss Jackie that I have a Miss Jackie as well as really
okay.
And so she had a really big like 60th birthday party for herself. And there was ladies there. She had, you know, all these different type of dancers and, you know, they want to call people up. And I'm just like, I already know. As soon as she locked eyes with me, I'm like, oh, she coming over here. It's already a wrap. Are you going to be like, oh, no, sorry, I want to be cute? Or are you going to get up and dance? It's a party. Are you afraid of who? You know, like, check your motives. If you're doing it, if my ankle was sprained, that's one thing. But am I saying no because I'm afraid?
That's real.
Check that part in all situations, because the more you overcome that piece, the less of a hurdle it becomes. Every time you overcome it, it comes down because you
like that.
You're
what
do they call it? You're creating that mental pathway. It's not as hard for your mind to be like, oh, we feel this feeling and we overcome it. Typically, it's a different conversation when you allow yourself to have the pattern of it stops you. And even if that could be changed at any time. Whatever age you are is the age you can start. It doesn't matter. That's not the point. I'm just saying there are extreme benefits to being able to overcome that. And the final piece before I let you hop in is that something that you said, and I just wanted to point out fear when it comes to it stopping us, when it comes to our fear of failure, that it might not work out. How we can change the definition of fear in our mind and how it blocks us is the understanding that fear is just like data and failure is data. And, you know, it's like, it's giving you more insight to how you feel about a certain situation. Okay, you did this, it didn't work out. That's data. You don't have to take that as this is who I am. That's how you create fear. Like, reframe it. Allow your mind to see bigger than this little situation. I failed at this. Okay, well, try something different.
Yep.
Why does it have to manifest? Why do we have to allow it to sit in our spirits, take root, and manifest as fear and block us from doing all these other things?
That's real, man. I'm being a student right now. I'm taking it all in. Like I'm just listening.
Yeah, that's like I was a couple of minutes ago. So hey, give and take.
Like you said, man, it's just always a bigger picture. Like to my professor, like, you know, to me it was just a shoe drive. To him, it was like, yo, I'm about to instill something in him that he probably don't even know it's in him, though. And it's like, you just never see it. But also fear almost stopped me from even speaking, though.
Really? You got to tell that story.
I was asked to, I was at church one Sunday, and apparently every year they do this kind of speech competition, I'm gonna call it that. Some kind of competition. And this lady came up to me. She was like, I really think she chose me because there wasn't too many young adults in there and they needed a young adult person. That's why I think I got chosen. But she came up to me. She was like, have you ever thought about doing speaking? Or because we got this competition coming up and I need a young adult. And I feel like you'd be the perfect person. I looked at it and I'm like, nah, I ain't that guy. Like, I'm good. I don't do that. I was like, I could write.
Don't do that.
I could write something out, and you know, if it's a writing competition, cool, I could write it. But yeah, I'm not the guy to get up there and like speak though. And it's just crazy to think about because I was for real too. I was like, nah, that ain't me. Now when I look at it now, it's like I love it. So it's like just that jump, but like fear stopped me from almost doing that. But I think the one thing I learned, and it was like in 2018, I was when I moved to Austin, Texas. That was like a big transition for me. because I ain't never like been away from home. I've been in Georgia all my life. That's all I knew. I didn't get my first airplane until 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Senior year of college, my first time ever flying. But moved to Austin, Texas, and it was just so scary because I didn't have nobody here. I didn't have no family. I had to make new friends. Really just had to like build my life, I feel. And I wasn't prepared for it, didn't know how to do it, never did it before. And I always remember like this one night because I became this person. I was out every weekend. Like
Hi,
I was
kicking
trying to
it.
be social. Yeah, I was like, I was just trying to be so social and just hanging out. But like what people didn't know was I was really like lonely though, and I was empty and like really like depressed though. But
Mm-hmm.
I was using that to like, let me go be social. I think that'll help me. But it was one night came back in, and it's like it finally hit me. But I remember walking through my apartment, my whole apartment, not even saying a word, and just kind of looking and admiring everything that I had. But even after seeing everything I had, I told myself, I was like, man, while it seemed like I got everything, I feel like I got nothing though. I
Mm.
feel like I have nothing. And that's what really set me out on this journey to like, just like that question, do you remember who you were before the world told you? That's what set me on the journey to like, man, I need to find out who I am though. Because right now, this person that I'm showing everybody else, this ain't even the real me.
Ooh.
This is that lonely, that empty, that like I'm showing y'all that just in another way to where y'all can't see the real deep feelings though. But I had to go on that journey and figure out who I was. And when that lady asked me to do the competition, it was almost like it's crazy. That was really like an outlet. It became like an outlet for me. And it's just crazy to see how that journey to, manifested because I never planned to be, I was shy.
Mm-hmm.
Coming out of college in 2018, I was shy. I had to speak
Mm-hmm.
in college and that just wasn't my thing. So it's just crazy to see how it was brought back up. I did it. And now we look at it now and it's like, boom. But I think,
Boom. That's amazing.
yeah, and the last thing I think about when we talk about like fear, I remember when Nipsey Hussle, that's my guy. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
um, big Nipsey
I
fan.
can see
But
that.
when he passed away, I don't even cry about celebrities because I don't be too attached. But it was something about Nipsey that I was like, I broke down. And I remember talking to my mama that night and I told her, and I was like, man, he was doing everything right. Like being fearless, impacting, serving, giving back, smart, wise. He's just doing everything right. And I'm not gonna lie, I saw so many things in him that I wanted to be. But then I told my mom, I was like, but they just killed him though. So it's like, if I want to be that great and go be great like him, what if that's like, I'm scared though, because like,
Mm-hmm.
I
Is that
want to
what
be
you can
great.
expect?
Yeah, I want to be great, but I ain't trying to get that outcome, but I understand that like, I think that's just why it's so important to me. Is like, it's actually just not about us. I feel like everything we do, every opportunity, every chance we get to use ourselves, our passion, skills, purpose, it's just never about us. And I think that's also helped me overcome that fear because once I now understand that, I am able to walk in that room and, sure, I may be anxious, but I'm not like scared though.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's just I'm telling you, man, fear is so
And you
it's
touched on the deepest one. I
so
feel like all the fears root to us like a fear of death. You know what I'm saying? Fear of, will this be the end? Will we not be able to recover from? When you give yourself to a higher purpose and a higher cause, it dispels that fear. Like,
yes.
it's like when people become parents, they might have been scared to death or scared maybe of death before, but let something happen to that baby, they'll sacrifice their life in a second without thinking about it.
So off
You know what
top.
I'm saying? And I feel like that about family members, and I'm not a parent yet. So I can only imagine how
Mhm.
much deeper it is when it's your own. It is when that is the physical embodiment of when you have a purpose that is greater than yourself.
How
You'll
you do?
die for it in a second. You'll die for it in a second without thinking about it. Do you think that if Nipsey had a choice, he would have, I could either play small and live till I'm 100 or do what I did and go out how I went out, I feel like he probably would have made this if those were his two choices. You know what I'm saying? It's not that he would want to leave his babies and his loved ones, but if it was play small or that,
going big.
You know, I think he would have chosen what happened. I personally do.
Because it's about, like you said, if somebody have a kid, a parent have a kid, their life, they now understand that their life is not about them. But see, I think that's what it is like it takes a kid to teach you that lesson of that, like, well, this whole time, even when you didn't have a kid, your life still
your purpose.
It still was never about you. But, you know, as people, we need to see it.
We need the touch.
Give me something to actually make sense. So give me a kid. Everything I do, that's for my baby. Like, I'm paying for my baby. Like, I ain't spending no money. I ain't going to the mall and blowing it because my baby coming into the world and I got to take care of that. So it's like, that's the biggest thing. It's like, why do you do what you do? Because I'm telling you, the second you make it bigger than you, when you realize that it's bigger than you, whether that's your family, a little brother, a little sister, like whoever it is, once it becomes bigger than you, it becomes more important to you, bro.
And you unlock superpowers.
You learn some stuff. You
unlock superpowers by that, like you said, that crazy belief, that 100% belief, because it's been documented time and time again. You get a mom and you tell her to go, train and do something for herself, and she about to pass out after 2 push-ups. Her baby's up under the car, she'll lift the whole car up.
Facts. Facts.
She'll lift that whole car up. Like, there's no alternative.
Ain't that crazy though?
No alternative. And that's why we allow our minds and the fear of a bit of pain, or that pain needed for growth, or the whatever, like we create our own barriers. We're our own safety on you know what I'm saying? The powerful, it could be a weapon, it could be used for good or evil.
Yeah.
But of our potential, we cap that. I feel like, there's crazy things going on in the world. I feel like that's 1% of what's actually stopping us. 99% of it is us.
Ain't that crazy though? That like,
it's crazy, scary, but also encouraging to say, so if I turn this on, if I start practicing this, like how far can I take this?
If I start putting that energy into me, if I do it to myself and I start applying it to me in my life,
what does that look like? What could that look like?
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy, man. But as people, it takes us a while to understand, like, that we are important. Like, some of the things that we want to give to other people, whatever we do give to other people, we should actually be giving it to ourselves. And I think I heard like a story about, it was a lady, and I think she found out maybe she had cancer or something. But I think she was very nice, for her life, she was very giving, giving person. And she found out she had cancer. And I think once she figured that out, that switch came on to like, oh man, I got to give to myself though. Like, certain things that I now have to do for myself. And it's, I don't know, life just got a funny way of like teaching us the lesson, but most of us don't catch it until something like, I'm gonna say traumatic, but just something like big happens though. That's when we learn the lesson. But just imagine how great life would be if we can catch them lessons earlier though.
Or if it doesn't have to be exactly.
Without trauma.
So traumatic.
Yeah.
Like, you can look at and cry over the beauty of life at the birth of your child, but you can also do it looking at grass grow. I remember I had the revelation, a changing of myself and my spirit and my mind, and I just would go outside and be like crying, like, yo, this is so beautiful, this is so amazing. Like, we're not even thinking about even the way in which trees, like, it's grass, it's trees, but you know the grass and the trees, and they communicate with each other, they know each other. They can communicate, there's a fungal network. Like, when you start to really understand
it's deep,
the depth of what's actually going on, how dare you limit yourself?
Yes.
How dare you tell yourself what you can't do? You haven't even, you're at the this ain't even a tip of the iceberg.
Nope.
You're 50 miles deep, scared to go 6 feet.
Mm, mm. That's good.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And these are things, because as much as I'm saying and I'm talking and it's cool right now, like I also find myself in those moments where I have to mentally readjust myself, my
Mhm.
faith and my abundance. And this is why it's also important to put yourself in these mastermind groups around these people like your friend who checked you,
Yep.
who don't allow your fear
Yep.
to incept their mind, and they know who you are like as a person.
Yep.
Because my mom checked me, she was like, "You've been saying some things that's not you. I just want you to check you."
Mm.
And at the time, it was like, I'm deep in the emotion. I want to sulk. I want to this. I want to that. But you have to have those people that don't allow their fear, your fear, to
Mm-hmm.
become their own, who can see you enough to understand that you are much bigger than the things that seem big right now.
Yep. And I think the last thing that I know I even have on it is it's a quote by Maya Angelou, but I come as one, but I stand as 10,000.
Mm.
Think about that. Like, I don't know. If you go through life choosing fear, you just gotta realize that like you really gonna do that to, I don't know, your people.
Your people, that's what I was about to say. You gonna do that to your people with the
And you
baton
gonna,
that they handed you?
yeah, you're gonna do that to like your family. You're gonna do that to your little brother. Like, there's just so many people that have like poured into us, taught us, gave to us. We've just been poured in, poured into by so many different people. And I just feel like to go through life and be fearful and not chase, not pour out what they've given to you and just live your dream and just be fearless. I feel like it's like a slap in their face because it's like, just like me, you don't know that like on the back end of living a life that's fearless, that's you and touching people, impacting people, changing people's lives. Like it's just so much, it's so many great things on the back end that you won't even be able to see because you're scared. So
And
it's
generationally, and both of those impact generationally. Like the last part of your set a precedence for those that will come after us. What precedence are you setting? Are you setting one of fear?
mm-hmm.
Are you setting one of, because we're all setting something. It's not like, what's the quote? No decision is a decision.
That is true.
You standing still, everything else is moving, so nothing is ever stagnant. So you standing still, but everything else is moving.
Yeah, by yourself. You where
Yeah,
you going? Where you at?
stagnant,
Where you at?
close
Where
to
you going?
death.
That's
You know
real.
what I'm saying? So it's like,
That's
I,
real.
I agree with that. And that is such a powerful quote because it creates such a visual.
Mm-hmm.
And to know that it's way more than 10,000
Oh yeah. That's just
behind you in here. You know what I'm saying? In your blood as a part of you. This, you know what I'm saying? That's crazy.
it's
You
bigger
not you scared to get up and speak in front of 50 people?
than
You got way more than that standing behind you, hand on your shoulder, like, go ahead, we got you.
we got you good, bro.
You good.
That's real.
This was put on your spirit for a reason. This was put on your heart for a reason. We got you.
It's
We
real.
got you. Even I believe some of our ancestors who did allow fear to mess with them in certain ways, begging, hoping, praying that you don't.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. It's deep. It's bigger than us. And
It's way, way bigger. And I'm honored to be able to talk to people like you and other people who push past it. However, the fear may manifest, for those brief moments in order to talk, share, teach, and then sometimes simultaneously be a student, but just like share in the and spreading that light and kind of shedding it on those dark places that we all have, and it exists. It's a
yep.
thing. It will be there. If someone's telling you that they just have no fear, either they're very ridiculously advanced or they're lying.
Yeah. Yeah. One or the other though.
One or the other, and more than likely, you know what I'm saying, the latter. Right?
They lie.
And once you know, they
Yeah.
they get off from you putting them on this pedestal so they can feel, because they can't make themselves feel like that by themselves.
Yep. Yep. Use people to make them feel better. Sure.
Yeah. And that's, that's why we don't do that.
Nah. No.
So, man, this has been transformative. The last thing I want you to talk about, just to tie it all together and bring this home, because we talked about, who you were before the world told you, and kind of stepped into you talking about certain ways that fear manifests for a brief period before you speak.
Mm-hmm.
You talked about how you almost didn't pursue this path.
Thanks.
So talk about the after, talk about the beautiful, give me some beautiful things that have happened in your life because you decided to pursue it.
I think one of the best things that I could say, like, so far that has happened, it would be seeing my little brother happy though. I feel like, I think I wrote it a while back, and it's yeah, I wrote it in my journal, but I said the best example is to be the example though. And I didn't know how, to me, I'm speaking, and I'm to me, it's my purpose, and I'm doing that. But when I talked to my little brother, like, he actually called me while we was on, and because I texted this morning, I was like, "Hey man, A&M, it went good, bro." And he called me, so I'm assuming he wanted to talk about it, just ask me about it. But when I first told him that I was speaking, he was like, "What?" I said, "I've heard of that scoop for like, that's a big man." It's just to see that excitement though and that happiness, but it's like, I think just to see my brother happy, my little brother happy, because and I didn't just even get too deep, but when it comes to like my relationship with my siblings, my younger, I've always like went through life and I've told myself, it's crazy how I can go out into the world and be this speaker, touch people, inspire people, impact people. But it's crazy how my little brother come to me and he asks me something or needs something. I struggle. So it's crazy that I can go out and give XYZ to the world, but I struggle giving that same thing back to my world, the people in my world. Like,
yeah, that's deep.
I don't know, it's like, it's crazy how I struggle. I've been working on it, but I've always said, like, I think that's what I enjoy about speaking. That's one of the beautiful moments, is seeing him light up, seeing him support me, because I know deep down inside he's looking to it, not to speak, but he's looking at it and he's like, "That's dope." I'm pretty sure he may feel inspired by it. I think the other random encounters that I've had, I've spoken at work, people will like reach out to me through email or through our Slack channel, and they would just send me a note, and it's like, man, that was touching, bro. Like, I didn't even expect. I don't know. It's like when you spoke, the whole tone of the meeting changed, and I just didn't expect that. But that was so dope, and it touched me. And I've actually made like real relationships based off somebody hearing me speak, and we connect, and it's just love though. So it's those. But I think the last one I would say was a beautiful moment. I spoke one time at this. It was a conference last summer, and I'll be honest with you, I was like, I ain't do good. I was like, I ain't do hot. Now I did, I went through it. I didn't, fumble it, do nothing crazy, but I don't know. When I finished, I don't know, I didn't feel good, but I think also I was searching for validation that I didn't get.
That's a
And
key.
then lastly, I was waiting on the check, and I felt like they was taking their time. So I was like, if I did good, they would be in a hurry to pay. Like, I don't know, but I was in my head a little bit. But the most beautiful thing happened, man. That was in the summer. I think last August or September. I can't remember when it was. Last August or September. There was this guy. He started following me on social, like on Facebook, Instagram. I didn't know who he was, but I saw the notification. But I saw he was just getting on every social media platform. And then he sent me a message. And he was like, I don't know if you know me, but I was on the conference that you did. The one we did in the summertime. I was on that conference, and man, I really enjoyed everything that you said. Like, it really touched me. It spoke to me, and like, man, I'm just happy to know you, bro. Like, And I
Wow.
was like, it was just full circle because you got to remember when I spoke, I felt bad. I even stopped, like, I don't even think I was posting it. I went into like I was like,
The whole thing.
yeah. And it was like, I never knew that on the back end. My mom always tell me, as long as you touch one person, you win. But I always say, you never know who you touching because they may or may not tell you. They may tell you that day. They may tell you next month. They may tell you next year. You never know. So first off, that's why we just got to walk into it. What we talked about, walk into it. Don't be scared. Just do it. Give it your best. But on the back end, it's like, it's impact. You just never know who you touching. And I'm not gonna lie, like in that situation, while I was scared to kind of come up out and get back to it a little bit, I also believe that God will send you reminders though. Even if you are fearful of whatever
Ooh,
in life,
yeah.
God always sends you a reminder, whether that's through a person, whether that's through a quote, whether that's through somebody posting something. But I do believe that like you can live in fear all you want, but I guarantee you throughout your entire life, you're gonna continue to get
Messages.
reminded. You can get
Yes.
reminded. It's a tap on the shoulder, like, hey, you ain't gotta do it, but just saying.
Just saying, you have the power of choice.
Yeah, man. So yeah, man. I think those are the moments that stand out to me, at least right now. There's plenty more, but like,
That's
yeah, it's just
beautiful.
seeing that you can touch people, like through being vulnerable, being transparent, sharing your stories and your truths. And it's like a lot of people be scared to do it, but when we're not fearful of what people are gonna say, and we're just not fearful in general, the doors are unlocked. You
Man,
know.
you won. You got the keys. I got chills when you were
Ah,
saying those stories. Yeah, because that's we just never know who we're impacting. The story about you and your brother, we never like what we do opens up the world for those around us.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like we don't know how that's gonna manifest. It's not our business to know.
yeah,
It's our business to move according to how we've been told to move.
yeah.
So, man, like real chills because I as you were talking, flashback to, the shy kid to the, never left home or never left Georgia, never
Mhm.
and now fast forward to now, like look where overcoming your fears has gotten you. You're in a new city, transitioning into a new, very successful career. Like, I'm proud of you.
It's beautiful, man. Thank you. I
Keep
really appreciate it, man.
yeah, keep doing that. I mean, I felt that again. I can't, I'm not gonna sit and say I like prophesized everything, like not even on that, but I just felt your spirit. And I had no doubts, like not even trying to boost you, but just with the understanding that the boost in itself was just me being transparent and that I had no fears or reservations about you being great
Mm-hmm.
at what you are doing, even in terms of the A&M thing. I'm like, oh, you're gonna do, like, yeah, go through the whole play that we go through. Oh, I'm so scared.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I'm gonna do it.
I hear
I
you.
can. All right, then step on the stage, like boom, and we hear purpose, purpose, purpose.
Yeah,
Give the message. It goes well, or like you said, even when you don't think it goes well,
it still go.
still
You touch.
impacting somebody. Still, there's some things that people say, and I can't really use anything else. But this one little thing that they said,
Yep.
I took and was able to use in order for my betterment, and use it to sharpen my mind, sharpen my spirit. And
Mm-hmm.
so, man, I just think that's so exciting. I'm excited for you to see, how this journey for you continues to go. I'm excited that we were able to connect.
I know,
I'm
right?
excited that you were number 2, a great number, a great kind of starting off. We're really getting some momentum. Even myself, me stepping out over the last couple months and
Yeah.
starting to put those things out. And I'm like, I looked on some of my Instagram analytics or whatever, and it was like, you reached 100,000 people. I'm like, I got like
Yeah.
100 followers. Like nothing that you would be like, oh, she got, but it doesn't matter because what I'm saying is coming from me and it's actually for me. It's
Mm,
something that's for me and that resonated with me as truth that I'm sharing. And
mm,
like you said, it's been people even on my post like the posts themselves. Some people send a message to me privately, but the conversation is just like, yo, I was having this type of day. I was doing this. I just didn't know how, and your message really touched me. You have a beautiful spirit. Thank you so much. If you're ever in, I'm like,
yeah, and they do that. Yeah, they look.
that's wild.
People look out for you, man.
That's wild.
It's love.
I can see that it's love. I can see that it's gonna be a balance again for people like us in this particular kind of position and with this particular kind of purpose, is to receive that love. And don't allow yourself to be ego driven, that you lose the vision and allow yourself to just be enjoying being boosted by people up on a pedestal, but also don't think so lowly of yourself when people are saying these high things about you that are their truths, and how you help them to a place, I'm not, like now you're like shrinking for the world either.
Yeah, don't do that.
So maintain that balance, maintain a balance of, again, bringing it full circle. Fear is a natural human emotion.
Yeah.
But it should be balanced with faith. It should be, as much as you can tip the scale to the faith, there should be situations that you walk into, understanding that there at all times there are things against you.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that they're gonna win. I know for a fact that most people encounter situations where they overcame something that looked like they might not have. They were able to walk through a situation where really, like, how did you do that? It wasn't logically, it made no sense. But we don't live in a world of logic.
Nope. Ignorance can be.
Ignorance. Blindfold, walk through a lion's den. You know what I'm saying? And somebody told you walking in a garden, you walk right through it.
Facts.
And we are definitely in a garden. This is fertile ground for our purpose and our beliefs. When you set your mind to something, there will be forces working on your behalf, your ancestors, the creator, et cetera, et cetera. Even on the quantum level, like science is now finally catching up to the fact that faith is a force, a very tangible one. I forgot what theory. It's the I might just be the quantum theory, but it's basically like particles show up where they're expected to show up. Like literally, they'll just like, if a scientist looks over here, it'll show up over here. Otherwise, they don't know where it's gonna show up. Like there's no actual right, but every time they look in a specific place and expect it to be there, it shows up. How, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't miss it. Don't miss it, because it works either way. If you're expecting yourself to fail because you've allowed that fear to take root, it'll show up where it's expected. But if you're expecting great things to happen despite whatever may be going on around you, I've been able to prove to myself time and time again that those things can happen. And using the overall adage, like, everything, this is something that's been helping me lately, everything is working out for my good.
Oh yeah.
Even the things that might look like failure at the time, even the things that might allow that disbelief in myself and that fear to start taking root, and the seeds are being planted. I have the opportunity to allow that core belief that things are working out for my good at all times to uproot those. So thank you so much.
I'm just being a student, man.
Likewise.
But before
yeah,
it off,
please.
I do just want to say thank you. I think this is so dope. I love to see, just people in general just kind of start this type of stuff and kind of get these conversations going though, because we need it. I think just in our generation, we need it. And it's only a few, I feel that's like chosen to go out, dream big, and like go do this. I don't know if you can read the hoodie, but it says
I've read it.
Yeah,
you're never too young to dream big. I love that.
I love it too. Yeah, I think this is just so dope. I just want to give you your flowers for first off starting it. I don't know what your process looked like of being fearful, but we see you doing it. I think that's so amazing. I think also I gave you the shout out, we talked on Instagram, but the consistency, I've been seeing you
Yep.
killing me. I was looking and I'm like, man, I don't know, like kind of just came out of nowhere with it too. It's like popped
Yeah,
up.
I
It's
made a
like,
decision.
yeah. And I think like you said, like we both said, it's like even if nobody says anything, people are seeing you though. So I think that's my biggest thing is like I started like I'm seeing you. I'm hearing messages and everything. And it's like, yeah, it's like even if nobody says anything, you're always being seen. And it's always touching somebody though. So I've definitely seen some of the messages that I feel like have touched me, have like made my day. So
Wow.
I just wanted to shout out the consistency though, because you probably didn't know it, or maybe you did, but on the back end of it was gonna be you touching people, whether they said anything or not. But you are touching people. I see it, and I know a lot of people see it. So, hey man, cheers to 2022. You taking off. Let's go.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's do it.
Likewise. Yeah, we gotta get into because I definitely want to talk to you. I haven't started
Yeah.
my official speaking journey yet. So I would love to tap in and really like because
Let's do it.
obviously that's why we were both that was the
Yeah.
starting point of where we both met at to be like, yo, I think, yeah, let's really do this. Let's really
Let's
invest in
do it. I'm gonna have to look
ourselves.
at my background too. You got me. You look jealous.
Yeah, it's a little just a little bit of sauce. But yes, thank you so much.
So,
Um, man, I could go all day with the flower giving, and it's really just based on energy.
mhm.
At the end of the day, that's what it's about. And
Yep.
from day one, another Maya Angelou quote, or was it? It was either don't cancel me. I'm like it was either Maya,
That's up Maya now.
or Oprah.
What was it?
It's people
Oh, I know.
will, so okay. Can you say it? Because I'm like,
I know it. I know it.
okay. So it's basically like people will forget
Uh-huh.
what you said, but they'll always remember how you felt. Now,
Mm-hmm.
was that Maya or Oprah?
That was Maya. Yeah, people forget what you
Okay,
say.
I was right the first time. Maybe Oprah was quoting Maya, more than likely.
Yeah, they'll forget what you say. They'll forget what
Yeah, and
you
you're the
say.
feeling that I get in terms of referencing you, like it really was good energy from the
Mhm.
start. So thank you so much. I'm looking forward to seeing what you do. I'm looking forward to hearing about it. I'm looking forward to us still going back and forth on this teacher student flip flopping roles wherever is necessary, whenever is necessary. Thank you for those flowers. I receive it wholeheartedly.
Mhm.
Still getting into a position where I'm like, again, that balance of like, is this a pedestal? No, but also, not shrinking and allowing myself to receive it so that it can be fuel, because we will need to be fueled on this journey. Like it
Mhm.
takes energy to do.
Yep. And
So
you remember what they told us at the conference? I think it was one guy who was standing up. I think everybody stood up and was clapping for him. And he was doing something. Maybe he was about to walk off stage, but I think one of the coaches, they was like, nah,
take the
let's
praise.
take it all in.
Mm,
Sit there, just take it in. You ain't even gotta say nothing. Just take it in. Because we need that. And we
that's
always
deep.
right from that. So
Yeah.
man, just take it,
Yeah.
take them praises in.
I did. I will, and I'll continue to play it back and get the additional energy from it. But yes, this has been another successful, very successful, of a many long line of successful podcasts, Study the Ascent, and we're talking about ascension in all ways, spiritually, emotionally, financially, mentally, to really understand that is our goal. Growth is in itself ascension. So thanks, everybody. Stay tuned for the next podcast. See you guys soon. Be blessed. Don't allow fear to make you small. Use it as data at the very most and keep it pushing. The more you overcome it, the smaller it gets.
Mm.
Peace.
Good.